All right, so I've got about 5 days before I need to mow the yard again, and my parts are in for the deck gearbox. So I'm going to go ahead and take the deck gearbox off, and I'm going to do a couple other things for this deck. I might go ahead and replace the belt as well. I've got one of those on hand. That way I've got a spare, and then I've got a new one on for the year, because these belts are pretty darn expensive. I want to say they're about 150 bucks for the belt. The first thing you have to do on these decks, on these 7-iron commercial decks, is you've got to release this tension. There is a spec on how much spring there should be, and you've also at the same time, in fact I might have to go get another wrench. I'll start releasing that tension, and then I've got to release this nut right here, which will allow this to swing back. I'm going to see if I can't do that with the impact real quick. Yeah, okay. So now this will move freely, and now what I can do is I can just take and sit here for like 5 minutes and loosen this spring. Takes a while. So I'm going to sit here and do this. Maybe I'll just record it all and I'll just speed up this. Okay. This is not one of those decks where you can just strong arm the belt on. Just not possible. Still don't think I have quite enough. No. Keep going. This is also one of the key reasons you're going to have one of these units. You really need to be prepared to work on it. Wrong way. You really need to be prepared to work on it yourself, because this would be very expensive at a dealer. The reason I'm not using the impact is because I didn't bring a 13mm socket with me to the back here. There we go. All right. So got that off. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the gearbox off. That way we can take it up to the front of the shop. And I'm trying to remember exactly how this goes in here. I think it's just the 4 bolts. I think. All right, got a better tool for the job. All right. Okay. All right, there's the gearbox off. Now I can carry that around up to the front of the shop and we can go to town. All right, so here is the unit that we're going to work on. You can now see it. I cannot stress the importance, if you own one of these machines, of maintenance. This repair right here is going to end up costing me about 50 bucks. If you let this leak go or didn't notice it, the gearbox itself, after tax and everything, is close to $1,100. If the gearbox seized up and the drive shaft something happened to the drive shaft, you're looking at easily, I want to say the last time I priced those drive shafts, at least 600 bucks, if not 700 bucks. So you get, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 sitting here, depending on how you parse it out. I mean, you can go buy a used deck for that price. So if you're going to use these machines and you're going to own them, I cannot stress enough the need for maintenance, because maintenance on these units is actually really cheap, relatively speaking. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this shield off. That one was loose. This shield's an absolute pain every year when I put it on and take it off. It's just a pain. But I'll clean all these threads and everything up later. Next, I'm going to take the drive shaft off. I actually did not take the drive shaft off at the end of last year. I just cleaned it all up with it on there. But it should come off relatively easy because I do keep it clean. It's another beauty of doing yearly maintenance on these gearboxes. Like I said, I didn't take it off last year, but I generally do take it off. So by taking this drive shaft off, I'm not trying to fight it, you know, every 10 years to get it off to replace something. And who knows, maybe it doesn't matter to some people. All right, so there's our gearbox. Pretty apparent that maybe I should have done a little bit of work last year to it. That seal's pretty much shot. So to get this bottom pulley off, I don't think that's 15. It looks more like an 18. It is. And my guess is it is a left-hand thread instead of a right-hand thread. It's my guess. Maybe not. Time for my impact sockets. And number 3 on the, you got the switch down here. It was on 2, now we're gonna get it on 3. We're gonna get this thing off, whether it likes to come off or not. There we go. So it was a left-hand thread. Nope, it's a right-hand thread. Interesting. Okay. Now, sometimes these just flat come off. Other times they don't. Generally what you have to do is you get a puller, which I'll set this up real quick, and you can use a puller to go through those bolt holes right there, and then you can just pull it off that way. It doesn't take much force to pull that off, but I'll get that set up and then we'll come back. All right, I got my puller set up. These are just grade 3 bolts. That way I'm not going to damage anything. The bolts are going to break, and I'm also going to do it by hand instead of trying to use an impact. Generally you can do it by hand. Watch, this time it's going to make a liar out of me. But I need some more leverage. That's for sure. Well, like I said, it's going to make a liar out of me. So, impact it is, and I'm going to turn the impact setting down because those bolts are not very strong. Well, that's considerably different than normal. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply just a smidgen of heat to that. It does not want to come off there. And I really have no desire to ruin my pulley. I'll work on this for a few minutes. Well, I got the pulley off. It was on there pretty good. I actually ended up taking it over and putting the whole gearbox in the press and just using some steel plates to, and I still may replace this pulley because I actually put quite a bit of force on there. But I ended up putting almost 8 tons of pressure on this pulley before basically how I set it up. And I'm sorry I didn't get a video of this. I figured it would just start coming out. So I put... So I had that on there. And what I did is I just screwed this nut in, or the screw in, or bolt in part of the way. And then just put a press on this, and then the 2 steel pieces were up like that. I put 8 tons of force on it, and it still wasn't moving, and so I just hit it with a little bit of heat from the torch, and it popped right off. About scared me to death. But the thing about it is everything, and I really wish that I would have taken a video of it. The important thing is everything was contained. The bolt was holding the gearbox up in the air. So even when it let go, even though it made a loud sound, there was no danger to anyone or to myself because it was all contained. Nothing was going to fly apart. The metal that was supporting. The worst I was going to do is bend this pulley. And as I spin this pulley around, it's a little warped. But I would much rather buy this pulley than buy this gearbox. So this pulley had to come off. You know, sometimes it's just what happens. So I'll actually... My guess is this pulley would be perfectly fine, but, you know, you got a $150 belt. I don't know how much this pulley is. Watch, it'll probably be like 200 bucks, and we'll just use it anyway. But I would rather, you know, have to buy this pulley than this gearbox. So that's what the gearbox looks like. Clearly, it's been leaking out of the bottom. Now, keep in mind that it was all clean at the beginning of the year. So this is just about 4 hours worth of grass mowing on it. But overall, you know, the gearbox itself looks okay. So what I'm going to do, it spins okay. So I'm just going to replace the seals. And that's all I'm going to do on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the gear oil out. And after I drain the gear oil out, I'm going to completely clean the gearbox outside. I really don't want to take it apart. I have everything if I need to take it apart. My parts order... Oddly enough, the seals were in stock, so CE17406. My dealer had, there's 2 of them, and my dealer had both of those in stock. I also was able to get the plug for the back. and the plug for the top, which we can't get to right now, but the plug for that's the plug for the top right there. At a grand total of $48.13. And I'll look up to see how much that pulley cost here in just a minute. My guess is it's probably going to cost between $75 and $100 based on the fact that those pulleys for the X Series gearboxes are about $50. So just my guess that $75 to $100. We'll see. But I'm going to get all this cleaned up, get the gear oil drained out, and then we'll work on taking the seals out. All right, got it all cleaned up. I think what I'm going to do next is and we're going to try to get this seal out. So this is the lower seal. I have already made sure that our new seals are the same. That way I don't take these seals off and then not have one. So I'm going to just take and well, that's not going to work like I wanted it to. At all. So I've got to come up with a different method. Maybe I'll take a screw and get in there. So I just went and got a awl in there. I'll just rock it back and forth. Should be able to pull it right out. Just like that. So there's our old seal. It was nice and worn out. Don't see anything. Looking down in the gearbox there, I don't see anything too terribly concerning on giving me cause for concern that I should take it apart. So what I'm going to do is just going to take and wipe off the shaft here. Make sure it's nice and clean. Inspect it. I don't feel any ridges with my finger. Then I'm going to go ahead and, to the best of my ability, clean the inside. Make sure there's no problems there. Doesn't appear to be. I think what I will do though, just looking down in here, I'm going to take a little bit of time and clean this up a little bit better. I just see a little bit of dirt and debris in there, probably from over the years. I'm going to work on that for a few minutes. You know what I think I just did? I think I just recorded me putting all the seal, or thought I was recording me put all the seals in, and I did not press record. That's terrible. So, well, that sucks. I got the new seals in. So, got that one recessed down there on the bottom. And this one up top, it was just level. I hope I recorded all that. If not, you're going to get a really short video. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and fill it with gear oil and let it sit while I'm waiting on the sheave. I think this sheave would be fine, but it's just warped enough for me to cause me concern. So the new sheave is $113. So it was a little over what I expected, but I'll get a new sheave ordered, and total cost to repair is $170. That's a whole lot better than $1,100 for a new gearbox. So thanks for watching.